you already see it kind of tilted in, whereas before it was still straight up and down. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. So now that we have the VELOSTER fully bagged, what I'm going to try to do is add some camber. That way it sits a little more flush, it goes a little bit lower, and the way we're going to do that is I went ahead and ordered some camber bolts. Now these are specifically for the 2011 to 2017 Hyundai VELOSTERs, and it's not specific, it's not non-turbo or turbo models, it's for all models. And what this is supposed to do is it either gives you plus or negative 1.75 camber. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what the car looks like currently. I'm gonna show you ride height versus aired out, and you're gonna see just how bland it is. It's so flat and boring, but hopefully with these camber bolts we get a little bit of an angle so it looks a lot more cooler. So let me show you guys that right now. So this is how the car is currently sitting at ride height. As you can see, you don't really see the tire much, or the wheel, and from here you could definitely see that it's tucked straight away. So let me show you the top view. You do not see the tire poking out at all, and it's kind of just hidden in there. Same with this side. You don't see the tire, kind of just pushed away. So that is the ride height, and let me show you how it looks aired out, and it still looks pretty bland. It's just flat. Alright, so this is the front view of both ends, completely aired out. And here is the side view. The top view, I feel like it pushed in even more, but as you can see, it's kind of just like really flat, does not stick out at all. Obviously with the OEM settings. Okay. So now that you've seen how it looks ride height and aired out on the OEM settings, we're going to go ahead and jack up the car, remove the wheels, and add these camber bolts, and then we'll see the difference that it makes. Hopefully it makes a really big difference. Alright, you guys, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to remove this top bolt completely that's holding the shock. So you're going to remove this completely, and you just need to loosen this one up. Be careful not to hit the brake line, but yeah, so you have to loosen up the bottom one, take this one off completely, and then these are our new camber bolts. They come with little instructions. Here is the bolt itself. Let me get it out of the packaging. Okay, so this is the bolt itself, and this little washer with the raised up lip, that's actually going to be your camber. And then the arrow, if I'm reading it correctly, the arrow, if it's pointing, so this would be this way. If the arrow is pointing you, then that is negative camber, causing the top of the wheel to go inward, which is what we want. And if this is facing this little tab right here, like that, then it would be positive camber. So the top of the wheel would stick out more, like that. Excuse the little hole, but the top of the wheel would stick out, which is not what we want. So we want the negative camber to go inward like that. And of course, to break everything loose, I have my little baby 17, which is for the top head, and then the big old mama jama for the nut right here, which is the 19. So we only loosened up the bottom part. Remember, you do not have to take that one out, and we did remove this part, and I believe we should be able to, yeah, There we go, just push it out as so. Alright, so we got the top bolt out and we loosened the bottom bolt just a bit to give us a little bit of play. Here are the two bolts in comparison. This is your OEM versus the new camber bolts that we got. You can see a little rivet here, like all this non-threaded area, basically, which is what gives you the OEM camber settings, versus this where you see obviously that rivet, it gets bigger and smaller as you turn it, and that's actually what's going to give you your camber. Now unfortunately I did install it the wrong way, so that's why it looks a little worn right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to properly install it. So you actually have to put the washer itself first in like this, and then on this end it's only going to be the nut holding it in together, because originally I had put this on the nut side but I didn't really see any difference, so this is actually the proper way to do it. Okay, so for negative camber, you want this little tab to be facing the opposite end of the car. For positive camber, you want this to be facing towards you. And we do want negative camber, so we're going to put it like this. And then you want this to align with the little tab at the end. And then in order to fit this little, here, let me show you. In order to fit this little washer part, there's like a little nipple at the end. You just have to make sure you push it in and then tighten it in place. With this, it'll be held where it's at, if that makes sense. So there we go, just like that. And then alright, let's go ahead and tighten this down. Now for this one, the top head is a 15 millimeter and then the back end is 18. With the OEM settings, the top head is a 17 and then the nut itself is a 19. So it just went down by 1 on both ends. Okay, so as I tighten it, you're going to go ahead and see the hub itself actually moving in and out, and then that's going to be your camber settings. Okay, now that we have it tightened down, let's go ahead and see if this moves. Okay, yeah, I don't know if you guys saw it kind of move inward a little bit, moving out right there, but we want that negative camber, so we're going to move it in as much as possible. Also keep in mind, guys, that these camber bolts are torque specific. If you do not torque it to a specific rating, it might wobble or something, and if you over torque it, do not over torque, you can actually snap the bolt. So I have my torque wrench here with the proper settings, 97 foot-pounds, so I'm gonna just torque it really quick and then we'll throw the wheel back on. Alright, you guys, so I currently have the car at ride height and you could see it a tiny bit, and like pokes in a tiny bit. Let me show you from here. Yeah, you could see it kind of like this, which is pretty cool, versus this side right here where it's still completely flat. From the top it's kind of hard to see just because it's not that big of a difference. You could kind of see it like a tiny bit, but you see it a little bit more from the front, and that's pretty cool. So we're gonna go ahead and do this side now and then see how the car sits afterwards. Okay, so I just finished up this side. I hand tightened all of the lug nuts and I'm about to put it on the ground, but just from looking at it right here, I already see a lot more negative camber on this side, which I did not see immediately on the other side. I had to put it on the ground and kind of play around with the angles till I saw it. But this one I see it right off the bat. So I don't know if I did something wrong on the other side, but I'm gonna put this on the ground, see how this side looks, and then we'll compare it to the other side. And if everything is fine, we'll just torque the wheels, call it a day. If not, we'll go ahead and adjust the other side. Okay, yeah, so you could definitely see it a lot more on this side, just angled up like that. Whereas on this side, it kind of still looks stock. So that's the top angle of it, and then the top angle of it. This one's actually sticking out a lot more. Look right there. You could see the wheel like at the bottom. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to adjust this side and then I'll show you guys how it looks after. Alright, so before I go ahead and adjust that, I'm gonna show you guys from a different angle where you could see the wheel actually more from the back side of the car. But I'm not sure why the front passenger had so much camber when the driver's side didn't, but I'll fix that right now. But go ahead and check it out. Look at how the wheel is sitting. You see it angled up like that. Versus the driver's side, where it kind of still looks just straight up and down. Okay, that compared to that, yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay, so it was this. Keep in mind this is very important. I had this facing exactly where the tab is on the other side, on the passenger side, and that's why it's had more negative camber. Whereas on this side, if you remember, this was almost reaching this. It was about down here, which is why I didn't have as much camber. So I had to loosen up the bottom, fix this part, re-tighten it, retorque it, tighten the bottom. Now I'm gonna throw on the wheel and see how it fits. Alright, so with the wheel on there, not even the lug nuts, just in place, you already see it kind of tilted in, whereas before it was still straight up and down. And I just put the lug nuts on, so we'll see how it is. Bro, that looks sick. Look at that. Oof, that negative camber. Camber gang. Okay, so that looks really cool. Like, I know it's like a tiny bit of camber, but a little bit is better than none. Damn, look at that. That's sick. So let's get this out into the sunlight, air it out, and then I'll show you guys how it looks once it's like in the sun, so you could get a better view of it. Alright, so this is how it looks, how it's sitting, completely aired out. You see it poking out a little bit, just a tiny bit. You can't really see it with the OEMs, but you can see that there's like a little bit of a difference with the camber. And I actually just ordered some wheels, so when those come in, you'll definitely be able to see this.
3 weeks later.
Super cool. Oh, look, you can see the camber. You could definitely see the camber now. That looks sick. Yeah. Alright you guys, so that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. And it was a pretty simple install. You just needed to remove the top spindle bolt and loosen up the bottom one. Put in the new camber bolt, make sure everything's aligned. Tighten your wheels, you're all set. But it did make a little bit of a difference. It's not 100% noticeable, but you can definitely see that the wheel is tucked in a little bit at the top, which I think is super cool. Like I said, I did order some wheels finally, so once those come in, I'm gonna go ahead and test fit them and everything, and hopefully it tucks a little bit more, because those wheels are actually going to be a lot beefier than the OEMs I have here. So stay tuned for that, and thank you guys for watching. Oh, really quick before ending this video, if you do plan on getting any camber bolts yourself, because the Hyundai VELOSTER, for example, you can't really put like the camber arms how you could in other cars like Acuras and all that fancy stuff. But I did order them off of eBay. They were about $20.99, so like $21, and I'm pretty satisfied with them. The rating said 1.7, either negative or positive camber. I mean 1.75. I feel like it might be 1.20, 1.30, but like I said, you do see it tuck a little bit, especially from like a rear angle. You see that the top part is pushed in a bit, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. And I'm gonna do some rear camber eventually. I just have to do some more research on that. But like I said, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I hope to see you in the next one. What's up, little guy? What's up, man? Where are you going? Oh wait, my lens was dirty.